Good afternoon. I am Andrea Chisholm with the Midday News. A special welcome if you're watching on onespotmedia.com. Tragedy struck last night on Grandspent Avenue, St. Andrew, when two-year-old twins died in a fire which destroyed a house. Our news center understands that the twins were left in the care of a relative who was outside when the fire started. Acting Superintendent of the Kingston and the St. Andrew Division of the Jamaica Fire Brigade, Patrick Gooden, said attempts were made to rescue the children. 15 persons were left homeless by the fire, and it's unclear how it started. With Anoto Bay fast becoming a crime hotspot in St. Mary, the police have implemented a new crime-fighting initiative. The move, dubbed A Nicer Bay, was launched on Wednesday with the support of community members, Member of Parliament Dr. Norman Dunn and caretaker Dr. Shane Alexis. Of the 44 murders in St. Mary last year, 16 were committed in Anoto Bay. Assistant Superintendent Steve McGregor says it has been a major concern.
What we want to do at this end of our country, which is the safest end, is to bring it back down to single digit. So we don't want any 20-odd murders in St. Mary. We want 0. And if we can't have 0, it must not pass 10. Oh, that sound? Oh, that sound? So that is how we're going to work towards it. And what we're doing here in Anoto Bay is a signal to the wider St. Mary that we are about changing what is happening in our parish.
Under the initiative, the police will launch a Safe Community Committee in the over 50 communities in Anoto Bay. Principal of Anoto Bay High, Trudy Ann Phillip, has called for policymakers to discuss a critical issue.
Member of Parliament, you need to read this in Parliament because you're the only one here. Everyone is being held accountable in society. Board chairman, principals, MPs, ministers, pastors, who holds parents accountable? Who holds parents accountable? We have to bring back the village parenting. All 975 are my children, they are my students, and I would want other persons to look out for my child. I'm imploring the Anoto Bay community that we must come together. It is not a one-man show. We must come together that Anoto Bay will become a nicer bay.
There are concerns this afternoon that the millions being spent on some sections of the road safety campaigns are not having the desired effect. TVJ's Dwayne Anderson explains.
We cannot continue the way we are going and the rate we are going. We have to, as a country and as a people, begin to decelerate the rate of road fatalities.
28 road fatalities as at January 30. That's nearly 1 Jamaican life lost each day due to poor road practices like drinking and driving. It is therefore hoped these 5 high-tech breathalyzer machines will help stop the carnage on the nation's streets. They are gifts from Carib Cement and will be distributed to the Road Safety Unit.
There is a serious problem with persons driving under the influence of alcohol, and I want to urge them that even in their drunken and mistaken logic, that the more they drink is the more they help the cane farmers. It is not so.
The Transport Minister bemoaned the fact that the government continues to shell out millions on road safety campaigns, yet drivers are seemingly not responding. Hence his belief that it is by reaching students where the change will come.
The jewel in our crown for PR is that we are in over 200 primary schools delivering the road safety message. And the ministry is working along with the Ministry of Education to have driver simulators in our high schools, and we're trying to also introduce driver ed in all the high schools so that when a person moves out of the high school and moves to apply for a driver's license, they would already be familiar with the intricacies of driving on our roads.
The Carib Cement leadership in the meantime used the occasion to make a special appeal to motorcyclists who may come into contact with their trucks on the streets.
Persons who ride their bike They need to better understand the dangers that happen through the road while you are, especially when you're next to a truck, the amount of blind spots the truck may have, so that you should be aware and take your precautions.
Dwayne Anderson, TVJ News.
The Betting, Gaming and Lotteries Commission, BGLC, is calling for owners and operators of a gaming lounge to renew their licenses by March 31. At a recent JIS think tank, Director of Licensing Maurice Thompson said that sanctions for non-compliance will begin on April 1, including a penalty of up to 60% of the fees. He said the commission carried out a number of inspections last year and there were a number of illegal operations.
Identify about 3,260 gaming machines, and these are local machines at 1,151 locations spread across the 14 parishes. As at December 31st, the exercise ended on Saturday last. So as at December 31st, 2,109 machines were licensed. Interestingly, for the 2017-18 license period, in that category of machine, we only had 4,955 licensed machines. So what we found represent actually 43% of the market that was illegal.
He adds that the Commission is making it easy and convenient for persons to renew their licenses by setting up payment desks at locations across the island.
Because we know how difficult it is for persons to actually come into Kingston from these remote areas. So this is one of the main messages we want to send to our customers, that we will be providing additional remote licensing service for our customers, and hopefully they can take the opportunity to license their machines during those period. The period is between February 11th and March 19th.
Healthcare facilities are reporting an increase in the number of patients seeking treatment due to domestic violence. Chairman of the Southern Regional Health Authority, Wayne Chen, has suggestions to fix the problems. We have details in this report.
Jamaica, a country with one of the highest levels of female attainment, but it is also among the countries with the highest rate of violence against women. Speaking at the Orange Day Road March in Mandeville recently, Chairman of the Southern Regional Health Authority, Wayne Chen, blamed the high rate of domestic violence on how men are treated in the education system. He adds that most of the domestic violence cases are the result of resentment against women.
Frustration and not being able to fulfill a gender role that is still closely held by the majority of us, including a majority of women, because the same survey shows that women still expect the men to be the breadwinners. They still expect the men to lead the household. They still expect the men to be on top.
Mr. Chen suggested that the problem can be addressed if resentment against women is addressed. He said that healthcare facilities across the island are overwhelmed with domestic cases.
The health authorities are overwhelmed. Our emergency rooms see far too many cases of domestic violence when there are other matters that have to be dealt with. The nurses here can tell you that when particular cases come in, everything else stops, so the wait might have been normally a 2-3 hour wait, so it turns into a 7 and 8 hour wait because resources have to be shifted at the last minute.
Mr. Chen pointed out that more trained persons are needed in healthcare facilities to deal with domestic cases. He is suggesting that government train healthcare workers who already have to meet the demand.
And I say the health authorities are the first line. And a move to that has to be to train more and more of our people to be counselors, to be proactive. In the southern region, we have over 70 health centers in addition to the hospitals. Those public health nurses have to be the refuge and the trainer and the teacher.
O'Shane Masters, TVJ News.
The parliamentary opposition is calling for the finance minister and the governor of the Bank of Jamaica to immediately address what it says is a severe shortage of US dollars. The opposition says the shortage has been ongoing for the past 3 weeks and it's due to the rapid depreciation of the Jamaican dollar. In a release last night, opposition spokesman on finance Mark Golding described the situation as unusual as the winter tourist season is in high gear. He says businesses are among those affected.
And the result has been that the Jamaican dollar has devalued quite rapidly over the last couple of weeks. You know, it was trading around 127 or thereabout, and it's now up to 136 officially, I believe, and some dealers have been offering amounts to end users as high as 138 plus today. So we hear nothing from the government on this. We hear nothing from the Bank of Jamaica. A lot of business people are upset because they have credit from their suppliers and they need to settle on time and they can't get the US to buy, and it's affecting their trading arrangements with their suppliers and their credit.
In news overseas, with the United States set to begin its withdrawal from the INF nuclear treaty this weekend, Moscow has launched its last attempt to salvage the agreement. We have details from the CNN.
A nucleus of nuclear security may soon vanish.
But whatever successes this treaty helped produce, today we must confront Russian cheating on its arms control obligations.
The Trump White House is set to pull out of the Intermediate Range Nuclear Forces Treaty. President Ronald Reagan and Soviet leader Mikhail Gorbachev signed the INF Treaty in 1987. The goal? To eliminate land-based medium-range nukes. But the Trump administration wants to start the 6-month pullout process after finding that Moscow is rejecting or avoiding its obligations and commitments.
We either bury our head in the sand or we take common sense action in response to Russia's flagrant disregard for the express terms of the INF Treaty.
Russia, for its part, denies the accusation.
Russia has implemented and continues to meticulously implement the requirements of the treaty and does not allow for any violations to happen.
Moscow says it would like to transform the INF into a multilateral agreement.
We are open to different ideas how to move things further forward. We do not exclude anything beforehand.
Russian officials say if the INF collapses, it could result in a new arms race.
And in sports, a proposal to reduce the club's monthly stipend by the PLCA has led to some Premier League clubs writing to the JFF seeking a meeting. As TVJ's Jordan Fort reports, they believe changes are also needed at the 10-year-old association.
7 clubs wrote to the JFF, a number which has since increased to 8, asking for the local governing body to intervene in what they believe is a punch below the belt by the Premier League Clubs Association.
It is said that they were receiving $500,000 and there is an indication to reduce that monthly subvention to the clubs. And so they are up in arms. They want a discussion that they're saying that I've never seen anything that they're saying that they want to stop playing. What they're saying is let us have a discussion to come up with a workable plan, because they do understand that bills has to be paid.
A proposal to reduce the monthly stipend from $500,000 to $350,000 was met with resistance by the clubs, who believe an increase is more appropriate at this time.
So it's very disappointing that the amount of allocation that we get each month is not going up. I think based on inflation, we should be getting over $1 million at this particular point.
When TVJ Sports caught up with PLCA chairman Edward Siaga for a comment, he wasn't keen on talking much about the matter.
We're taking a Nancy and brother drab it and...
So, but Mr. Siaga, is it a concern though that they would...
It's not a genuine 7. I can just tell you that.
Siaga's deputy, Carvel Stewart, says he is aware of the club's problems, but the tough economic times just don't allow for more for the clubs.
And so the amount that is available will determine what everybody gets. I mean, it's a simple arithmetic. So if people know where the additional funds are, they should go and get it and bring it home so that we can all benefit from those funds.
According to Cavalier CEO Rudolph Speed, a change is needed at the top in order for the league to benefit financially.
As a matter of fact, I don't think anybody should be telling this leadership that they should go reeling. I think if you look at your performance years ago, 750,000, and your performance now is 300,000 a month, nobody don't need to push you. You should see that what you're doing is not working, and you should probably try and get fresh young blood in the system.
Speed also believes that the Premier League doesn't need the PLCA, the PFAJ and the JFF on the shoestring budget. The full details can be seen tonight at 9 on Centre Circle.
And that's the Midday News. I'm Andrea Chisholm. Join us at 7 for the Primetime News Package. On behalf of the news, sports and production teams, good afternoon and have a great weekend.